known James for long, or have you just been brought in?
Literally we came on board in June. He started coming into our facility up in North London, and we've been working with him ever since then, trying to do 2 sessions a week where we can. And then we're trying to help out as much as we can with a bit of nutrition. Obviously he's burning enough calories every day, so we've been trying to just give him a few ideas and suggestions in terms of improving some of the meals he's been eating. The family have been superb actually, Eloise especially, and helping with that. And just you can sort of see now how he's looking at the moment, 5 weeks out, wherever we are now. He's lighter now than certainly this time normally going into a fight. So it's coming good, and hopefully he'll be a lot more powerful in the ring when we come 14th of Jan. So.
Yeah. Do you know what it was that kind of made him think, well, I need to go and do some proper strength and conditioning now?
I don't, to be honest. I think someone did say to him, I think now with things like social media, you're looking at the guys like AJ, and you're seeing the sort of videos that are being put out there. And I think it was something. I know he said in his last fight he was just feeling he was landing good shots, but he wasn't feeling powerful with them. That was just the conversation we had. So we sort of said, okay, we assessed him, we looked at how he was moving, and then we tried to find some weak links and look to just make him a lot more stronger. Yeah. And he's flown through it actually. He's taken to it really well. He moves incredibly well. From day one, he moved really, really well. And then just with some structured planning, we've just taken him from every week. It just gets stronger and stronger basically. And now obviously we'll look to taper it down a little bit before we head out to America, and just keep him as supple and as reduce his risk of injury as much as possible.
He's obviously kind of top of the tree already without any of that. Could you believe that when he came to see you, that he had all he's really done is bits and pieces, and obviously lots of running and kind of old school training?
I think it's quite traditional to the sport, the training methods. It's a lot of people look to what the top guys are doing. So a lot of people are going to look at what Mayweather's doing. But also, sports science is changing all the time, and sometimes it's sort of changing quicker than the coaches are. And that's not disrespecting gym in any way, but everyone trains how they've been taught to train. And I think there's a fear almost of if you are doing strength work, you're going to risk injury. There's a lot of top athletes that are almost wrapped in cotton wool, but the demands of the sport are great. So you have to subject the body to some serious resistance in order to come through good and strong. So
what is it that he's been doing specifically, and is it kind of specific to boxers, or is it?
Yeah, definitely. Basically our priority is to get everyone what we call guaranteed structural balance. So we're looking at straight away anyone that we work with gets assessed. And like I said, we look for areas of weakness that need strengthening, and we also look for areas of overactivity, tight spots that we want to try and reduce. That was the foundations, and just teaching him the basic sort of strength movements, so things like squatting, deadlifting, boxing. You're looking at there's.
And he's never really done much of that in his career.
Not the way we've been doing it. Boxing is a unilateral sport. So we've been doing a lot of single leg explosive work, a lot of lunging, a lot of split squatting, these sort of movements. And then the idea is obviously we're trying to make everything as specific as possible to when he's in the ring. So there's a lot of rotation work, a lot of single arm pressing, all those sort of movements which transfer nicely to boxing. We've been doing our research. We've been finding out that the best possible things that have been coming through the industry, and we're trying to apply it to James as best we can. And he's
I mean, you've had. So June, you've had almost 6 months or so with him.
Yeah.
And obviously a critical. And obviously a critical 6 months with such a big fight on the horizon. Do you see the differences with him when he's doing your stuff? Your resistance-based strength and conditioning, but then also do you see the difference, say now, to when he's doing his boxing stuff, his techniques-based stuff?
That's where I've used today to speak to the guys. I've been speaking to Jim and to Jimmy Mack Jr. because obviously we don't do any of the boxing work with him, and they assure me he's punching a lot harder. He's holding himself a lot better, and he's moving well. I mean, because of the lack of a lot of power is generated from the legs. And one of the things we noticed when he first came in was his legs were particularly weak relative to the rest of his body. And he's up to where he should be now, and it's definitely apparent. From what we hear, he's doing really well in the ring. You can see he's more explosive. He's moving around the ring a little bit more sharply. Again, this stage out. But hopefully, in terms of longevity of career, it will help from that perspective as well. You know, at his age now, he's getting old, but the last thing that he needs is an injury. So we're trying to make sure that, you know, we're reducing his risk of injury. We're keeping him as balanced, as structurally sound as possible, and just, you know, giving him the fundamental basics to hopefully carry on fighting for a few more years.
I mean, with that in mind, and just finally, obviously James has had some bad injuries during his boxing career, particularly with Gilmore's groin and stuff. And people sometimes don't realise that strength and conditioning, even more than in improving your performance, is also about restricting injuries. Do you see that as well? And do you think that could be, especially with James now, he's entering the kind of last few years, as it were, of his career? Do you think that this new sort of regime that he's got will help prevent injuries too?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at most injuries that occur for athletes, unless they're unlucky or they're like an impact-based injury, are overuse. You know, so Gilmore's groin is obviously something that James has suffered with, which, from when we assessed him, we highlighted pretty quickly. It's from weak glute muscles. It's from weak opposing muscle groups. So he was doing everything through his inner thighs, and unfortunately, no amount of road running is going to clear that up. You know, you have to go straight to the cause and work with it. So we've looked at what the symptoms were. We've highlighted the weaknesses and we've worked around that. And touch wood, he's not complained of any issues with his groin whatsoever, and he's doing a lot of lateral work with us, which is a textbook sort of scenario where you would feel it tweak or you would feel it working. So yeah, definitely, and that you're only as strong. We say to all our clients, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So it doesn't matter how strong you are doing certain movements. If you've got a weak link in the body, that's what's going to let you down. So we're trying to reduce any weak links and make them as strong points as well where we can. And that's what we're doing today at the ring at the start. He's got a tiny little early signs of a little niggle in his shoulder, which is normal. You know, you look how many punches he's throwing a week, especially with Jim. And we're just trying to, nip in the bud early doors, make sure that doesn't exacerbate and come to something worse later in camp when it could prove problematic. So